Hey, everybody. Today I've got an incredible guest for you, and I'll bet that he takes you by surprise with the unique side hustle niche that he's got. And it's not the one that we're talking about, but we're going to talk about it for sure. Anyway, I'd like to give a warm welcome to Ethan Galloway with Be Visual. Ethan, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Dar. Excited to be on here with you. It was great to meet the other week when you came out to Salt Lake.
Yeah, it was great. It was great sharing time with you and not just learning about your SaaS, but learning about your Woodshop. And so I'm going to just jump right in because clearly you are calling in from the Woodshops. We're going to get to your SaaS in a minute and how you use it and how you've built it and what kind of customers you serve and how you use HighLevel and all that stuff. But I love this Woodshop concept. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so let's see here. It's kind of a funny story. So like community Woodshop, what you can see here, I'm repping it. I actually just taught a corporate class this morning. So we had a group of almost 24 doctors, ER doctors come in, and they all went home with cutting boards. I think I've got one here, right? So they made these like
Nice. I thought you were going to say they all went home with cuts.
Yeah, no, they were really careful.
Right to the
They're like,
ER.
oh, we've seen what this table saw can do.
Yeah.
I had to cut for one of them, but anyway. So Community Woodshop it started 4 years ago. The funny thing, it wasn't my idea. I had the only project I had ever done in my life out of wood. I was a Boy Scout. I made a Pinewood Derby car. If you remember those Pinewood Derby. Literally, I had no experience. I started the shop with two friends, and it was their idea, but I was the guy coming in, building the website, automating member sign up, putting all the training and certifications in a video series, do it. And they were like, yes, we need you. And then what ended up, they actually lost interest in the shop and I took it over so I continue to run it today. And it is a side project. It takes so much time. It is a total blast though. So I bring my kids down here. We build projects. Do you want me to pop out and just give a glimpse of it? Or
I would love to. And if I understood what you were talking about there, so, a lot of people that come on this podcast, they have a high-level agency or they have a SaaS business and it's a digital virtual business, and which you also have, but you actually have a membership business here in this Woodshop. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So we basically have two offerings. I won't give the full tour because there's a lot there, but you just like a gym membership, right? You can go get a membership to the Woodshop, and so we have all of the equipment, the tools, the hand tools, and the space. And then the other lacking thing that a lot of people won't have is like the knowledge of just, hey, I'm interested in doing that. I don't know how. So then we offer the help as well.
I remember you showing me pictures when we were at the event in Salt Lake of guitars and cutting boards and tables and all kinds of stuff. And I was blown away because it was seriously high quality woodworking. And man, I wish we had one of those here in Oklahoma City. I don't have the bandwidth to start up a franchise, but
it's been a lot of fun because it's one of those like put my money where my mouth is type of, I use all the same tools that I'm offering up for sale in my white label, my HighLevel white label in the SaaS. And so like I can show them like it's not just theory, it's not just that I do this only as a service and I've got a few clients to point to it, but I'm like, I live and breathe by the success of the concepts that I'm sharing and the tools that I'm sharing. Because if I wasn't gathering emails and doing email campaigns, if I wasn't gathering SMS opt-ins and doing text blasts,
right.
If I didn't have the membership area, this business wouldn't be working. And so that is part of the drive of just keeping this going and alive is I'm like, to me, it's a little chip on the shoulder that I'm like, I got to show these people that I eat the dog food, right? That I use the same tool and that it literally is the lifeblood of this place.
I love it. Okay. So thanks for I think for me, that's the highlight of this, but people are going to want to know other stuff about your agency and how you got started. So like, what were you doing before? Do you mind to give us like a little backstory?
Yeah, for sure. So I went to school, graduated, immediately got a job actually at this startup, super small. We were selling to towing businesses. We actually called it a CRM. And so at Omadi, this place at the startup life, right? And so many of us live it with our own SaaS, but you're just kind of like, you do everything. And so you're getting shuffled around and you're taking, sales calls, you're taking support calls, you're figuring out the process and trying to grow. And I settled into sales and marketing roles there. And we had kind of a wild ride. We were growing, pretty decently. We raised a whole bunch of venture capital and did that. And so I was there 6 years. Was ready for a little bit of a change of scenery. I was married now, had a couple kids after this,
Hmm.
and I also was interested in going back to school. I did BYU's executive MBA program. So it's like a program that meets every other weekend and you keep working full time.
Oh, that's cool.
And so I needed something that was maybe less demanding, or so I thought. And so I left there, got another sales and marketing job at another software startup. Guys that I absolutely love. They're in the HighLevel community, Wave, the power dialer. And
Okay.
so I looked them up. They're a lot of fun. So I spent the next 3 years there. And while I was there, I had this itch to go chase entrepreneurship again. So I had started Community Woodshop. I had started Be Visual. I had started another company that ended up failing, and it was like so distracting, right? I was running in every
Sure.
direction. I didn't have focus, and so I had to leave Wave, go all in, and kind of cut down to the wood shop and Be Visual, and leaning
Okay.
into sell SaaS, and I do have some services packages as well. But that's more or less how I got into it. Is just had this, kind of just hungry for some entrepreneurship. Wanted to kind of try to build something from scratch, and ended up doing it in parallel a couple of times. One failed, two are working out.
Well, it's interesting. So that caught my attention, actually failed. So many people are afraid to fail, but yet so many of us do. And I think the people that persevere are the people that have failed more times than the others and learned from that failure, dusted themselves off, and kept going. The people who don't make it, so to speak, are the ones that either are afraid of failure or they fail and then just like, oh, I failed, right? They don't try again. So kudos to you for keeping it going and making your adjustments. And I'm curious, are there any lessons from that failure that helped you to where you're at to now that you might be words of wisdom to any of our watchers, listeners?
I learned a lot of things. It's one of those times where I think it could have succeeded had it been my entire focus, but I wasn't ready. Like I was scared more or less of like going all in on this thing and then it still failing. And so I wanted to see these, everything succeed, and it held me back a
Sure.
little bit. And so sometimes you have to kind of take that, right, that gamble, and lean into the point that, yeah, you might stumble, you might trip and fall, but sometimes things won't succeed if you don't give it that a full-fledged effort. And so that was the
Right.
case here. And so I definitely assess things differently, where going into it, I'm much more real about, okay, for this to succeed, like what level of effort, like is this going to take all of the time I have available for working, or can it be split? Because right now I've got two things that split time,
Right.
and that was one that just needed that full-time effort.
Yeah, I can appreciate the challenge that must have been. So, okay, I'd like to move then to the wood shop and your use of HighLevel. And we're going to get to your agency and what you do with your agency, but your
Yeah.
use of HighLevel to run the wood shop. Would you say, I mean, I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but I would love to hear your answer on how using HighLevel to actually run your wood shop, communicate with leads and members, how it's helpful and beneficial. And do you think it would work without it?
Yeah. So good. Yeah. Great question. I love talking about this. Like I said, it's like it's the proofs in the pudding. Is I love sharing with anyone that I'm talking to about the SaaS, that I have this business. I use the same tools. It would be so much harder without HighLevel as the backbone of the shop. So on day one, I wasn't super familiar with HighLevel. I actually launched it on Kajabi.
Okay.
And so I had the website in there, I had the courses in there, but I was lacking on lots of other tools to round out and kind of complete the customer experience. One of the biggest ones, right, easy to point out, is just the two-way texting, right? Getting texting. So with like 90% of the interactions with clients and the wood shop is text first for us. So that was a
Gotcha.
huge upgrade when I migrated in and brought it into HighLevel, is, that text capability.
Yeah.
But then I also just loved kind of everything in one, right? When every time they're launching new features, right, they throw QR codes in there, and then I'm using QR codes at physical events that drive people to
Yeah.
to funnels in that I'm tracking there. I'm trying to think if I use any tools outside of it, and like it automates everything we do, from booking requests, so people who wanting to schedule a tour. We offer free tours of the shop, or we
Hmm.
sell physical classes like I taught this morning, and they just book those, self-serve book online. We've got, for bigger classes, we've got, pipelines built out in a sales process with automated follow-up steps.
Isn't that crazy? You can
The
do that?
memberships area, right? And getting members in to be posting and commenting, asking questions, letting us know, because it is a self-serve model. And
Hmm.
so, they needed a place to say, hey, this thing needs attention, needs repair, needs maintenance. So that's all in there. It literally, like, every aspect of the business is run in the platform now.
That is crazy. What a success story. You're your own case study.
It's cool, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's fun because, like, one of the things I always talk about soliciting, business into my SaaS, it is I encounter a lot of businesses that have been at it way longer than I have, right? And so they've been doing what they do, their trade or service or whatever it is, for 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20, 25. And
Sure.
I always use this example that at the Woodshop, I haven't done much on social. So my audience is a text list and an email list. And
Hmm.
but because I've from day one had a CRM and have been recording and logging every person we talk with, and knowing who's opted in, if I go launch a new service, a new product, or in my case at the shop would be a new class. We just launched Women in Woodworking, right? A women only meetup where they come make a few things and have a lot of fun together.
That's cool.
And so we launched the class, and in 3 days sold out every spot we had. And so now there's like this wait list that I've got people on for when we launch new dates, and then new dates and new dates. And I use that as an example because I go to people and they're like, oh, my business, it runs on referrals. Like, that's great, right? That's so good. I love referrals too. My business is
Yeah.
also supported by them. But let's say, whatever your trade is, you offer a complimentary service that's new, right?
Hmm.
You're a siding business and siding stalling, and now you're going to add on a gutters product, right?
Yeah.
If at the click of a button, right, you wanted to reach out to all of your old customers and say, hey, we've got this new offering, you can book here to get a quote or whatever it is, like, how easy is it for you to turn on new business from your existing relationships?
Absolutely.
And so that's one of the things that we benefit from, for sure, that I always talk about with people, right? It's like, well, how easy is it? How hard would it be to go add services that can really bolster revenue, right? Because as your business grows and the percent year over year growth declines, right, inevitably you get to the state where it's harder to get bigger growth numbers. One of the
Right.
easiest ways to get those numbers is by launching a new product, a new service, a new offer, and because you're going from zero to whatever it is with that new thing. And so
You are
anyway,
absolutely correct. In fact, down the street, so one of my customers is a local bakery, and they make amazing handmade everyday bakery products.
I love
But
those all
they
too much.
they close at noon or 2 o'clock, and so they're like, the space next to us just went vacant. Whatever company was in there is gone. So we're going to capture that space, and now we're going to do sandwiches. We're going to do paninis for the lunch crowd, and so I'm telling them we're building that list. Everyone that comes into the bakery, we're getting reviews. We're putting them on the VIP list. Of course, now we have AI voice that's answering questions and answering calls and asking people if they want to get on the VIP list so they can be notified when new things happen and so forth. And I'm telling you, as soon as that sandwich shop is open and making sandwiches, messaging is going out to that entire list to say today is the day. It is actually, we're going to send it out the week before.
You get
We're-
it. They get it.
Right. We're opening next week. These are the sandwiches we're going to have. First come, first serve. Come on down, check it out, and they'll be backed up.
Yeah.
They'll sell out.
Tell them here's the secret sauce though. Tell them to offer a cooking class and watch that thing sell out.
That's a good idea. Okay.
But yeah,
All right.
that's
So-
awesome. That's exactly what I've benefited from, right? By running things out of the platform, and it's a fun story to tell because like you said, I am my own case study.
Now let's talk about let's move from yourself to your customers. I know you have a bunch of customers, a bunch of SaaS customers, and so you are seasoned at delivering an offering to them and getting monthly recurring revenue. Can you tell us a little bit about what it is you offer and maybe some of the any tips that you might have for how you've acquired those customers and what you do to make sure that they stay happy customers.
Yeah. So let's see. I'm here in Utah. So right down the road from me is the Podium headquarters, right?
Okay.
And so they've been a local success story. I've been able to follow them. And so when I had shifted from, okay, I've got this more or less comfortable, full-time W-2 to I'm out on my own. I'm selling SaaS. Like I've got to go make this happen, or things aren't gonna go very well. So a couple of things for me, and I had sold software for a long time at the two different businesses. Like I was comfortable doing that, but I knew I had to keep it simple, and especially because on day one I was, the sales, the delivery, the setup, the support, all those things, and so I led with website chat widget as a means to omni-channel messenger, which is just one place for all of the mostly text conversations, but calls, emails, social DMs.
Sure. The conversations channel inside of HighLevel, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
And review automation, right? It was kind of right behind that, and highlighting a few things related to those things, right? Well, now you're engaged via text with your clients, and it's easy to do, text to pay links, and and then it's easy depending on their needs, right? If they needed help with adjacent things. Everything stemmed from kind of a website chat widget, review request automation, missed call, text back, those three things. Because, then let's say, they need to keep track of their sales better. Well, we can automate creating, a little pipeline opportunity card from a conversation, and, depending on how they originated,
Right.
things like that. So it would slowly expand, but it's three core offerings: missed call, text back, review request automation, website chat widget. Like that's what I would lead in with.
Really core elements that every local business should have.
I mean, some people are probably hearing this saying like just frustrated because they're like, oh, that's all we ever hear. But like there's so many businesses still out there with all of us offering SaaS products that need those three things, right? It's like,
You're right.
And then when you've got that established of, yes, I've built from it and grown it, but that's how it originated. And now I think my story does tangent somewhat, is maybe somewhat unique, because so I no longer had the 9 to 5. I left, and at that time had like $1,200 a month in SaaS. And so that was not enough for me to live on. And so I was like, hey, I've got to go figure this out. And I kind of leaned into my personal strengths, which were not building funnels and websites and running ads and doing the digital funnel, which I'm more comfortable with now. But I got in my car, Dar. So I got in the car and I drove to some local businesses, and I started with things that I loved or people that I knew. And so my wife and I had just taken a dance class. It was just a 4-week series. We went and learned some dances together a few times. And so I went and hit up local dance studios, face to face, walked in. I don't have a dancer body, but so they're kind of like,
you got the moves.
What are you doing here? Right. And then I was able to, put them at ease, saying, well, don't worry, it's not to dance, but I do have these things that can help you recruit a whole bunch more customers and better take care of them, give them a different experience. And so I went into woodworking businesses, right? Local wood suppliers and tools dealers and stuff, because I had the wood shop going, and that was a point of connection. So I just used my own passions, found local businesses that I felt like I could just walk in and relate to them, not even have to worry about, oh no, what am I going to say to try to sell them something? It was just like, I now need friends as much as I need customers because I'm out on my own. And I was able to just walk in and exude that, like, hey, let's connect. And while we're doing that, I'm going to help you with these things. And this is what we expect to see you get out of it, which is this incremental growth week after week, month after month. And then we have this relationship, and it's easy to keep them as customers. And, they trust me. They know they can call up our business, get the help they need. But I put a lot of miles on my car and basically just walked into local businesses, Dar, and that's how I got all my first.
I love it.
That's probably
so
how
many
I got
people
the first $10K in monthly recurring revenue.
So many people just don't want to do that. They just are unwilling to do it. Right?
If I whisper, they'll listen. You're missing the best customers by not doing it.
Yeah. I
That's
love it.
my approach. It's worked. Occasionally I still do it. I do get a ton of referral business from those early things, and so that
Yeah.
drives it. And then, some classic online funnels and methods and stuff. But at the heart of how I originated, and if I ever feel like I'm in a slump, it's hop in the car and go get face to face with somebody who has a problem and needs it solved. And then that's where I can plug in solutions.
I love it. Just taking imperfect action. Just, it's fantastic. Well, so we're coming to a close. Is there anything that you would say or any advice that you would give to someone else who may be just getting started out in HighLevel, in the agency space, in the AI agency space, any of that, maybe wants to go out on their own, has a full-time job, any of those things that you've mentioned, any guidance that you would want to give them?
Yeah. So let's see. I'm just over 2 years into this, and pivots that I'm making now, right? I feel like are somewhat lessons learned that if I don't go apply them, I'm like, well, what am I doing here, and how could I suggest something to whoever's watching or listening to this? So here's adjustments I'm making. I started with just so broad, right? Like everyone was a potential customer, and it worked. I was able to go sign people up. But I'm 2 years in, and now if I want, like I've come to the realization of what everyone had told me all along is if I want to go scale, I need to narrow down that focus. And so I'm currently structuring, instead of this like needs based, I'm going to go in, do a needs assessment, and then custom tailor some proposal that always includes those three basic things, and then maybe one or two that are specific to you. I'm standardizing some packages, and I am going to be niching down this year, right? Which so many people talk about. And so like I would suggest doing that earlier in the life cycle of growing a high level SaaS. I think that what I've realized, right, is that there's more momentum that can have this lifting effect and carry you without having to just be constantly pushing the ball. But you use momentum is what I've learned is like the people that are the same types of businesses that I'm able to go repeat serve with similar solutions are the ones where I'll be able to probably serve them better and grow bigger faster. Yeah. So I was in denial for 2 years. I'm finally coming around to wanting.
That's good advice.
A little bit.
I mean, that's what we did in the Cairo business. I had experimented with fitness and with accounting and kind of experimented with Cairo and sort of fell into it. It sort of found me, and then we were able to create a solution unique to them, really understood their challenges beyond just the basic stuff, and we're able to replicate that over and over for hundreds of clients. And so yeah, that is great advice.
Yeah. Let me slip in one more thing.
Okay.
I definitely would not have been able to probably make it all work had I worked alone. And what I mean by that is, I put myself out there. I went to the HighLevel annual conferences in the fall in Dallas.
Yeah.
And then I also just would reach out as I would see, you online doing so great, regularly posting stuff, being an active voice, helping people along the way, and lots of others, right? And so I've reached out and connected with face-to-face, which is my preferred, with so many people who I look at as like these role models. They've done things I haven't done. They've hit milestones and successes that I hope to, and all of them have been so helpful along the way. And it's not always like some business relationship. It's, I'm in a point where I could use a little advice, and most people love to help people and lift them up along the way. And so I would just say, like, if you're getting into this, like, get your people, get your group, and just put it out there. Like, hey, are you someone that I could ping some ideas off of? And that does often springboard to, there are lots of, paid communities that I think can accelerate growth and be a really good investment. But until you're at that stage, right, just build relationships with people who are, have your same struggles or in your same position, because that network can be so encouraging and can really be a lifeline when you're going through, maybe some different swings in the business. Because as much as we all want it to be just up and to the right, it's this roller coaster that's just constant, it's building and it's growing, but there are definitely, dips along the way.
Absolutely, they are. And even if it were always up and to the right, which it is not, it still is lonely. Being an entrepreneur, especially working from home, it gets lonely. So, it's good to have your people that you can check in with. It's good to have these amazing events like the Prospecting on Demand event that we were at a few weeks ago, where you kind of get together with your people sharing the same stuff. So
Yeah.
anyway, all right, Ethan, we are out of time. That is a wrap. Thank you so much for being on the show. Is it okay if we put links down below so people can check out your woodshop and check out the stuff you're doing?
Totally. I'll send those over. We'll drop them down there.
Excellent. So if you want to learn more about Ethan and what he's doing, and if you want to start one of these woodshop franchises in your city, give him a
Reach
call.
out.
If I wasn't spread thin doing other things that I'm doing, he might get me but I would definitely be a member. So someone here in Oklahoma City area starts a franchise, you got your first member right here.
Yeah.
Ethan, thanks so much. Have an amazing rest of your week. Everyone else, we will see you next week. This was our best episode yet.